Sitting at my desk, anger and frustration consume me. The past year has been a blur, with the pandemic keeping my son away from me for the entire summer. I seethe at the thought of being robbed of precious time with him, and just when I thought things couldn't get any worse, I discovered that my wife of 5 years had been unfaithful. The mere mention of her name fills me with rage. For the past few months, I've played detective, trying to uncover the truth about her affair. But every lead is like opening a can of worms, revealing more lies and deceit. And to add insult to injury, this woman who betrayed me has been in my own home, pretending like nothing is wrong. The thought makes me want to scream, throw everything at her. My lawyer keeps telling me to be patient, but how can I when I haven't slept in my own bed for nearly 2 months? As soon as she's gone, I'll burn the sheets tainted by her presence. Not only have I been deprived of physical intimacy, but her accusations of my infidelity are like salt in the wound. The sight of her trying to hug or kiss me makes my stomach churn, but I must play along until this nightmare is over. As I gaze at her, my skin crawls with the sensation of tiny bugs skittering across it. I want her out of my sight, but I can't bring myself to make it happen just yet. My fuse is burning low, but there's still a bit left to ignite. It feels like being trapped in a cavernous room with only one other person, and a single table to break up the empty space. Their incessant tapping on the wooden surface echoes off the walls, driving me to the brink of madness. All I want to do is flip the table and silence them forever. But for now, I can't even confide in anyone about my feelings because it's not time yet. Everything is still building to a breaking point. I'm filled with anger and disappointment towards myself for allowing someone to have this power over me once again. I just want this cycle to end. And as much as I try to push him from my mind, thoughts of my son tug at my heartstrings and leave a painful ache in my chest. Update number 1. I'll also provide some context from my wife's browsing history. Yes, I'll admit to spying, which shows that she hasn't used Reddit in 6 months. At this point, I don't even care anymore. My hands are clenched tightly, my knuckles turning white as I try to hold myself together. To anyone who has discovered their partner's infidelity and kept quiet until they got their revenge, you have my utmost admiration. This is fucking hard. When I finally arrived home on Sunday night, after a grueling 1,400-mile drive, I was relieved. The last thing I wanted was to see or talk to my wife. Exhausted, I made my way straight to my chair and fell asleep. The next morning, Monday, my wife attempted to initiate physical intimacy, but I just couldn't bring myself to get aroused by her anymore. Every morning, without fail, my member is up and ready before me, so this is not a physical issue. It's simply that for once, my body is in total agreement with my mind and heart, and neither of them want anything to do with her. Emotionally drained and physically exhausted, I've lost 15 pounds and feel like a complete shit, but those 8 hours of sleep were the best reprieve I've had in a long time. Her words struck me like a slap to the face, igniting a fierce and heated argument. I could feel my heart racing and my palms growing sweaty as she accused me of cheating on her once again. My 50-year-old body felt weak and vulnerable, unable to defend against this constant doubt and mistrust from my wife. Her insinuations cut deep, questioning my love and loyalty while I struggled to understand what was happening to us. She claimed that I hadn't been a good husband, listing off grievances like ammunition in a war that I didn't even know we were fighting. It had been over 2 months since we last made love, and even longer since I had said those 3 little words that once came so easily to me. In her eyes, there was no logical explanation for this sudden change in our relationship except for infidelity. She was trying to gaslight me, making me question my own sanity and morality as she spun her web of lies. But what she didn't know was that I had been piecing everything together for weeks now. D-Day, as I called it, was September 25th. As a collision repair specialist, I often dealt with vehicles that were considered train wrecks, just like our marriage. On that fateful day, while working on a particularly damaged truck, I accidentally sliced open my leg. The pain was excruciating and blood poured out like a river. My co-workers rushed me to the emergency room where 5 stitches were sewn inside my leg and 34 on the outside. It was a gruesome sight, but nothing compared to the agony I felt inside. The doctor prescribed me with heavy painkillers, and there was no way I could drive home in that state. So instead of coming home to comfort my wife and reassure her of my love, I found myself alone in a hospital bed, feeling physically and emotionally broken. Little did she know, I was doing something behind her back. I was trying to heal and make sense of this train wreck that had become our marriage. Her words struck me like a slap to the face, igniting a fierce and heated argument. I could feel my heart racing and my palms growing sweaty as she accused me of cheating on her once again. My 50-year-old body felt weak and vulnerable, unable to defend against this constant doubt and mistrust from my wife. Her insinuations cut deep, questioning my love and loyalty while I struggled to understand what was happening to us. She claimed that I hadn't been a good husband, listing off grievances like ammunition in a war that I didn't even know we were fighting. It had been over 2 months since we last made love, and even longer since I had said those 3 little words that once came so easily to me. In her eyes, there was no logical explanation for this sudden change in our relationship except for infidelity. She was trying to gaslight me, making me question my own sanity and morality as she spun her web of lies. In that moment of fiery emotion, I grabbed my phone and thrust it towards her, determined to make her see the truth. I showed her the chat log, filled with unanswered messages from me to her. My voice, usually calm and collected, cracked as I shouted at her about the time when I needed her most, and she had abandoned me without a word of explanation. She pulled out her phone and glanced at it, then left house for a few hours. When she returned, she apologized, but I could see the lingering hint of deceit in her eyes. As she spoke, lies dripped from her lips like poison. In the days that followed that explosive argument, I couldn't help but snoop through her belongings, her phone, laptop, iPad, searching for any evidence of her infidelity, and what I found tore my heart apart. I discovered that she didn't just dislike my son, she harbored a deep-seated hatred for him. Her disdain for him was so strong because he disrupted her desired lifestyle whenever he came to stay in our home during summers. But that wasn't all. This affair had been going on for years with multiple men, including one who was a close friend and co-worker of mine for over 14 years. He worked with his wife, who also played a role in helping my wife hide the affair with another man, her boss. They had introduced us and witnessed our proposal and wedding, all while knowing she was cheating on me with multiple partners behind my back, and to add insult to injury, they let me marry this woman, fully aware of her infidelity. As I watched the footage from the cameras I had installed in our house, I couldn't help but feel a mix of anger, betrayal, and heartache at the depth of their deception. I know of 4 men. 2 I am familiar with, 2 I do not know at all. They have desecrated my bed, defiled my couch, and stained my kitchen table where I eat. The remnants of their lust still linger in the shower as they carelessly used my soap to wash away their sins. When I retreated to my hunting property for a weekend of solace, I invited her along, as I always do, but she declined, preferring instead to stay in our home and engage in infidelity. Returning home, I bore witness to a parade of men passing through my house, each one bedding my wife without so much as a thought for our sacred vows. And she did not even bother to shower between them, a disgusting display of her lack of remorse. The same occurred when I traveled to Chicago for Thanksgiving. She spent the entire weekend inviting other men into our home and our marriage bed. For 2 months, I have kept these heinous acts to myself, until finally confiding in my ex-girlfriend about the truth. Though outwardly calm and composed, inside I seethe with rage. I almost confronted her about her unfaithfulness, but instead chose to swallow her lies and apologize for our argument. Foolishly, I even offered to make an appointment with a doctor for my erectile dysfunction, only to discover her text messages to her boss referring to me as a limp dick and eagerly anticipating Friday's rendezvous. This is not the woman I fell in love with 7 years ago. Somewhere along the way, she has transformed into a deceptive and manipulative creature, perhaps due to severe mental health issues, or simply because she is a sociopath. Regardless, this is not what I signed up for. Asking her to marry me was an incredibly difficult decision for me. After my first divorce, I struggled to trust any kind words from women, haunted by the trauma of my previous marriage and its aftermath. I have even pushed away 2 amazing women in my life because of the lingering damage from that first relationship, not just because my ex-wife did not truly love me. I was left with nothing. No home, no car, no means to support myself, and minimal support from family, forced to couch surf for 3 years as all of my earnings went towards alimony and debt payments. At just 22 years old, my life was shattered before it had a chance to truly begin, and on my 24th birthday, I found myself drunkenly sobbing on a friend's couch with a gun in my mouth, feeling utterly hopeless with no light at the end of the tunnel. The memory of that day still weighs heavy on my mind, a constant reminder of the lowest point I have ever reached. I keep $43 in my wallet as a symbol of that moment, a reminder to never let myself sink so low again. Though I am not in the same place now, it feels eerily similar, perhaps wiser and more cautious this time, but still filled with the same pain and betrayal. I remember catching them in the act, having to come home early from a trip to discover the truth. The gaslighting was unbearable, her denying what was right in front of me and then screaming for me to stop as I lashed out at my brother and his friend. But at least it was over. There were no more lies or denials. Despite all the therapy I had gone through, it seemed like everything had been erased. But this time around, the deceit is slow and insidious, a constant stream of lies, even when there is no need for them. It feels like every time I blink, she has betrayed me with another man. My love for this woman has long since died. There will be no repairing this relationship. I have checked out and moved on. My wedding anniversary now marks a day of infamy, like Pearl Harbor Day, and I intend to make sure she remembers it too. The seconds drag by like hours, each one adding to my exhaustion and pounding headache. All those years of therapy seem pointless now. Nothing can erase this pain and hurtful deceit. Update number 2. Yesterday was the day I finally took control and ended this misery that had consumed me for far too long. I couldn't bring myself to write about it then, and even now, as I try to put my thoughts into words, I still struggle to find the strength. The morning began with a heavy weight on my chest. I left the house, craving some sense of normalcy, and grabbed breakfast while waiting for her to leave for work. As soon as she was gone, I rented a truck and headed back home. With the help of a close friend and her husband, we loaded up all of her belongings into the truck, the bedroom furniture that I had gifted her as a wedding present, my couch, my dining table. We took everything to storage and bagged up her clothes, including the dirty ones that I wanted to throw in, with the clean but was stopped by my friend. By 11 a.m., we were finished, and as noon approached, I knew it was time for the final act. I bought flowers and chocolates and made my way to her workplace, a skinningly sweet gesture that would make everyone else believe we were just another happy couple. But they didn't know what she had done. They didn't see the pain she had caused me. I walked in, presented her with the gifts, gave her a hug and a kiss like nothing was wrong. Her co-workers smiled and cooed at our display of love. Little did they know it was all an act. I told her not to make any plans for the evening because I had something special planned for us. But before leaving, I made sure to say goodbye to fucking Tom, her boss who had been having an affair with my wife. A smug smile played on my lips as I waved at him and left. At 2 p.m., while my wife was being served at work by a deputy, I stood in front of Tom's house. I couldn't resist sending him a photo I had taken on the day I caught them together, a reminder of the destruction they had caused. And then, just to solidify my revenge, I took a selfie in front of his house and sent it to him. Justice had been served. I stood on the doorstep, my knuckles white against the wooden door as I anxiously waited for Mrs. F.T. to answer. I knew her from various parties and events my wife's work had hosted, but we were never close. With a deep breath, I mustered up the courage to tell her the truth, that her husband and my wife were having an affair. Mrs. F.T.'s eyes widened in shock as I showed her a picture of them together and a selfie they took while my wife was performing a sexual act on him on our couch. And then she did something I didn't expect. She slapped me across the face before bursting into tears. Feeling guilty and ashamed, I handed her a thumb drive containing all the evidence I had gathered about my wife's infidelity. I also warned her that my wife was cheating with multiple men and advised her to get tested for sexually transmitted disease. After giving her my lawyer's card and number, Mrs. F.T. asked why I would do this to her. As I struggled to find an honest answer, my phone began buzzing incessantly. Ignoring the calls and texts, I headed home and changed my Facebook status to divorced. Once safely back at home, I started reading through the messages from my wife. Confused and hurt, I messaged her that she could come by at 7 p.m., not a minute earlier, to collect her belongings. It wasn't until later that night that my wife finally found out about me telling Mrs. F.T. She sent me a furious text cursing me out for betraying her trust. But it turns out that Mrs. F.T. hadn't immediately told her. She had her own problems to deal with first. My so-called friend, who helped cover up for my wife, let's call her Amber, also reached out to me in anger. Finally fed up with all the lies and deceit, I answered her call. And when I asked her how long she had known about my wife's affair with Tom, she told me something that shattered my world. As it turns out, they had been together since before my wife and I even met. I was nothing more than a side piece in my own marriage. It was a sickening realization. My entire marriage was a cruel and twisted joke. I couldn't believe that Amber had known the truth all this time and kept it from me because she didn't want to upset her friend. But what about me? Wasn't I supposed to be her friend too? Through tears and anger, I asked her why she hadn't told me sooner. She said it was because they were afraid I would become violent if I found out. But I reminded her that she knew me better than that. I would never harm anyone. She simply replied that she did it to protect her friend. But what about protecting me? Didn't I deserve to know the truth as well? When I asked if she would have wanted me to tell her, if our situations were reversed, she hesitantly admitted that yes, she would have wanted to know. As everything finally began to sink in, I realized just how much of a fool I had been. My whole marriage was built on lies and secrets, and it was all crashing down around me. It was a bitter pill to swallow, but at least now I knew the truth, and from this point forward, I vowed to never let myself be played for a fool again. With trembling hands, I hung up the phone and sent her pictures my wife had taken of her and her husband. The photos were a cruel reminder of the betrayal that had unfolded before my eyes. I texted her back with my lawyer's number, a final act of defiance against her deceitful actions. I made it clear that my lawyer now had all the information I knew. As the sun began to set, my wife showed up at the house and discovered the changed locks. She started banging on the door, her cries echoing through the empty house. I stood inside, refusing to answer or acknowledge her presence. She tried calling again and again, but I turned off my ringer. Hours later, as darkness descended upon us, 2 deputies parked outside my home. One of them was a friend who had helped me move earlier that day. His wife also arrived, lending support to both him and myself. My wife appeared once again, her demeanor subdued after what I can only assume was an altercation with Amber. I handed her a bag filled with her clothes, along with the key to our storage unit and my lawyer's card. From now on, all communication would go through her. But as soon as she saw the lawyer's card, my wife burst into tears and pleaded for forgiveness. She claimed it was all a mistake, that she still loved me, and it didn't mean anything. The more she spoke of love and reconciliation, the more I felt my anger resurface. Her words turned into curses and insults directed towards me. The noise attracted the attention of our neighbors, their faces peering out from behind curtains to witness this domestic chaos. Despite her physical and emotional outbursts, I remained calm, keeping my hands at my sides. But as she continued to lash out at me, unable to control her emotions fueled by alcohol, I learned something new about my wife. She could throw a mean right hook, leaving me with a fat lip and a bloody nose. My only reaction was to stand still and let her release her fury. The deputies intervened, restraining her and offering to press charges, but I declined, simply asking them to make her leave. They filed an incident report so I could obtain a temporary restraining order, but I couldn't help feeling grateful for her violent outburst. As soon as she left, I retreated inside the house. As I cleaned myself up, the emotions that had been building up over the past 2 months finally hit me like a tidal wave. Exhaustion washed over me, both physically and emotionally. Despite thinking that I would feel better after this confrontation, I felt worse than ever before. The weight of everything that had happened crashed down on me all at once. Tears flowed freely down my cheeks, something I never would have expected from myself. My phone had accumulated nearly 600 unanswered texts and calls from my wife and others seeking to mediate our situation. But for now, I needed space from our mutual friends and their attempts to mend our broken relationship. I couldn't bring myself to call my son last night, as I always did. Tonight, I will tell him what has happened and face his potential disappointment, though deep down, I know he never liked her much anyway. Update number 3. I had a meeting with her and her lawyer today. It wasn't exactly what I had hoped for, but it was enough. We signed the papers for an uncontested divorce, which will be official in about 2 months. That's the good news, but I still feel a sense of sadness and relief at the same time. During the entire process, she avoided looking at me. I can only speculate on her thoughts, but I like to believe that she couldn't face me. Her lawyer was competent, but he knew he was handed a difficult case. They asked if there was any chance of reconciliation, and although we entertained the idea, it's not possible. We also requested full disclosure of her actions. She had already written everything down, but it was less than what I already knew. When I read it, I noticed that the 2 men whose identities I didn't know were not mentioned at all. My lawyer presented photos from camera footage and asked who these men were. She was not forthcoming with him either. They asked us to step out while they discussed something privately. When we returned, my lawyer told me the truth. Those two men were recent online hookups, and she had been having an affair with Tom throughout most of our relationship up until about a year into our marriage. She claims to have ended things after I proposed, and I want to believe her on that. Even though I shouldn't trust anything she says, I did ask if she had ever been faithful during our marriage. She began having an affair with FP, my co-worker, Amber's husband, on July 4th of 2019. We were having a barbecue to celebrate Independence Day, and she gave him oral sex at my house while I was there. She admitted she didn't love him. She just enjoyed the thrill of it all. As the year went on, she became more brazen and started hooking up with random men from online sites. I'm pretty sure she had some encounters in parking lots and other questionable places, but I didn't want to push for details. During our meeting with the attorneys, I asked for some privacy so I could ask her some personal questions. They left the room, and I confronted her about why she cheated and why she agreed to marry me. Why didn't she just say no? She claimed she loved me, but her actions showed otherwise. She wanted the security of marriage, and I was good in bed, but her true love was Tom, whom she has been in love with for 10 years. He wasn't leaving his wife, and her biological clock was ticking. So I was essentially a financial provider for her. She said I made her happy, but ultimately she wanted what she wanted. To those who have asked, both soon-to-be ex-wife and FP have been fired from their jobs due to Amber raising a fuss at work. I didn't need to do anything. It all came crashing down on them naturally. Soon-to-be ex-wife is now living with her parents, and I have no idea what is going on with Tom and Mrs. Tom. I was told it's none of my business, but if he chooses to stay married, there may be consequences. I asked if there was anything else I should know, and that's when she dropped another bombshell. 2 years ago, she had an abortion because she wasn't sure who the father was. This hit me hard as we had tried to have a child in the beginning of our relationship. We eventually decided to stop trying and just enjoy our sex life, but now I'll never know if that could have been my child. This was enough for me to walk out of the room. People may say I dodged a bullet, but I can't help but think about the child she took from me. If anyone has ever been in a boxing match, you know there comes a point where you're taking blow after blow, but you don't really feel them anymore. They're still causing damage, but the pain isn't as sharp as it was at first. That's how I feel right now, like I've been hit one too many times, and everything is just numb. She could tell me she started the Chicago fire, and I wouldn't be surprised at this point. I called my lawyers back into the room. I instructed mine to move forward with Plan B. That meant taking my request for alimony off the table in order to reach an uncontested divorce agreement quickly. I wanted to add a condition that she must undo all the infidelities, but I knew it was futile. The recent abortion has been weighing heavily on my mind, and I don't want any reminders of her, even in the form of a monthly paycheck. So at 5:43 p.m., she signed the papers. 2 months from now, it will all be official. I keep my house, my retirement funds, and all my belongings while she gets $73,000 from our savings. She is never to contact me again, and we are done. I don't care what happens to her from here on out. She needs professional help for her own sake and for anyone she meets in the future. But I am no longer invested in her well-being. I can't say that a weight has been lifted off of me. It feels like I've just eaten a shit sandwich, and that's all I can taste right now. I haven't had anything to be happy about in 3 months, and I don't see any happiness in my foreseeable future either. That abortion has been constantly on my mind since she told me about it. It's going to haunt me for a long time. I have no idea what my plans are for the immediate or distant future. Maybe when this divorce is finalized, I'll feel some sense of release, but for now, All I want is to be left alone. No more sympathy or condolences, just peace and quiet. Throughout this whole ordeal, I've been reflecting on everything I've ever done and can only see where things went wrong instead of where they went right. It's a terrible mindset to have, but it's what's left after everything has fallen apart. All I can say is that at least I got to keep my possessions this time, but I never want to go through this again. Update number 4. I received my official divorce decree in the mail today, although there were delays due to the severe snowstorm. Surprisingly, I feel neither happy nor sad about it. Some friends wanted to celebrate this milestone, but I don't see failure as a cause for celebration. I'm feeling numb right now, but I know the emotions will hit me at some point. She called me today, and I answered. There's no use dwelling on what's already done. She didn't even apologize. She asked what good it would do. I can't say for sure if she truly regrets how she treated me, but it doesn't matter anymore. Her family situation is difficult too. My son was as close to having a grandchild as they'll ever get. He's asked if it's okay to stay in touch with them, and I have no problem with that. But how do I talk to them without her being part of the conversation? These people just ruin everything, don't they? I really liked her dad. He was like having relatives from my side of the family for my son. Also, my little Chihuahua, now named Dulce, kept me warm during Snowmageddon. We were without power or heat for 5 days in freezing temperatures, but she snuggled up in bed and kept us both warm like a champ. Anyway, I think I need a break from here for a while. Maybe until I'm ready to start dating again or looking for something casual. That nagging doubt has always been in the back of my mind. She doesn't love me, she'll leave, she'll hurt me, and now it's screaming at me. But right now, I'm doing okay. That fear of getting burned by the stove is actually a good thing. It reminds me to take my time and not jump into anything. I need a lot of time to heal, and I'm going to give myself that. I wish all of you the best. Just because we've been through tough times doesn't mean we are worthless. Stay strong, my friends. I love all of you. In the tapestry of life, every thread weaves a story of love, betrayal, growth, and the quest for happiness. Imagine embarking on a journey that promises the fulfillment of dreams, only to be entangled in a web of emotions that tests the very essence of your being. This tale begins with a young couple, their love blossoming amidst the joy of shared dreams and the innocence of new beginnings. They find themselves the proud owners of their dream house, their lives enriched by the laughter of pets they adore together. Yet, lurking in the shadows of this idyllic existence are secrets that threaten to unravel the fabric of their relationship. Early betrayals surface, casting long shadows over their love, challenging their trust, and igniting flames of jealousy and anger that had never before been kindled. The narrative takes us through the highs of passionate love and the lows of heartbreak, revealing the complexity of human emotions and the fragility of relationships. As they navigate the turbulent waters of their relationship, they encounter moments of pure bliss interspersed with storms of conflict. The introduction of new challenges tests their resolve, pushing them to the brink of despair. Amidst the chaos, a revelation shakes the very foundation of their lives, leaving them at a crossroads, facing decisions that could either forge a path to healing or lead to the shattering of their world. Let's not wait and get straight into this. My girlfriend 26 and I, male 29, have been together for exactly 5 years. We have owned our dream house since October 2020. We just adopted a puppy that we love. We live with 2 adorable cats. Very early in our relationship, I found out that she was being unfaithful and had sex with another guy that she was seeing on and off since she was 14. She would sometimes have sex with him hours before doing the same with me. I'm a really open-minded guy. I had never been jealous before this relationship, but this broke me. I confronted her about it. She broke down in tears, promised she would stop, and begged for me to come back. After a couple of days of thinking it out, I decided to forgive her. I tried to focus on building a great relationship with her. I believe it might have been too fast, because I started having control issues, anger issues, jealousy issues, because of those incidents. Despite those issues, our first 2 years were amazing. We were madly in love, and both couldn't stand being away from each other for more than a day or two. I began healing slowly and had fewer of the previous issues. The real problem started when we moved in together in our first apartment. She would often say that I wasn't helping enough around the apartment. She says I spent too much time on my computer, drank too much. Month after month, she began to get more and more distant from me. We didn't have sex very often, and even the smallest things like hugging, kissing, or holding hands felt forced. She never wanted to. Every time she was like that, my anger, control, and jealousy issues were coming back, which made her even more distant. Sometimes it was a never-ending, toxic circle. Sometimes we managed to talk it out and get better at being with one another for a couple of great months. In July 2019, she had another affair with a co-worker, although less serious than the first one. I took it very badly, but again we talked it out. We got out stronger and managed to get to where we are now. We have a beautiful house together and pets that we love. We talked about our future together and made plans. Last Sunday, she straight up told me that she didn't love me anymore. She said couldn't see me as a fatherly figure for her future children. This is the first time this happened. As I could not control her feelings, I thanked her for having the courage to tell me. I suggested that we get professional help to help us get our feelings in order and talk about our future. She hesitated and simply told me I don't know. The next days were hell. My mental health plummeted and I had a breakdown. I felt the need to go through her phone to find out why she wouldn't want to get help. Why did she just risk 5 years of relationship and our whole situation down the drain instead of going to therapy a few times? I found what I believe is indubitable proof that she plans on getting with the co-worker she had an affair with, but I don't know if it is my paranoia talking. She always denies it when I try to calmly talk to her about it. Feeling that I couldn't hold on any longer, I apologized for my breakdown. I brought up the couple therapy idea again. Even though our breaking point was probably long reached, it would really help soften the blow and get our thoughts in order. After pushing her for an answer that wouldn't come, she eventually told me that she didn't have the strength to go through therapy. She refused any kind of outside help and wanted to break up right now. This is where it gets bad for me. In addition to losing her, I lost the house and our beloved pets. They are mine, but let's face it, I cannot take them away from the house. I'll probably get the chance to see her rebuild her life with her co-worker in my house, in my native village right next to my parents' house. And I owe her half of the $100,000 that was invested in the house by her rich grandfather. Money that I don't have. I'll need to sell every single material thing that I hold dear to gather the money. I'm constantly thinking about hurting that other guy. I am constantly considering suicide. This is not a call for attention. The thoughts are pulsating right through my mind every time I think too much about her affairs, and what I'm about to lose. I already booked an appointment with a therapist to help me cope with all of this, and hopefully not hurt anyone. My closest friends have been warned. They took my car keys and take turns staying with me to be sure that I don't do anything stupid. I feel like getting professional help could have saved our couple. But I think we're way past that point now and can only try to mitigate the damages, but I have no clue how. Do you have any advice for me? Update. I'm devastated. My girlfriend of 5 years broke up with me without telling me that she was with someone else and had been for at least 1 month. When I found out, I told her that I had no other choice but accept her new relationship and wish her the best. I asked her one thing: not to see him in our house until we sell it or until she buys it from me. I temporarily moved out to give her some space while she thinks about our breakup and what she really wants to do. She's been saying that we could still go back together, but she needed to think about it. She had sex with him in my bed last Friday. I immediately found out and confronted her about it. I told her to pack her things and let me enjoy the comfort of the house. I asked her to leave, take some time to reflect on her side, and let me rebuild myself in our house. I tried moving back in last Sunday, but she wouldn't move. She told me that I couldn't force her to leave the house. I had to change the sheets they had sex in. I had to empty the bin where they threw their used condoms. When I tried to finally go to sleep in my bed, this is what she told me. "Are you sure that you want to sleep in the bed where I fucked him yesterday?" After hearing that, I lost the will to fight. We had a 4-hour chat where I conceded her everything. The house, the dog, the cats, everything we own. The worst part, at the end of this chat, she told me this. She was losing someone great, that we still had chances to stay together. And that I shouldn't give up, and I should keep fighting for her. I moved out again, blocked her on every social media, and started no contact since Monday. This is the hardest thing I've ever had to do. I miss her so much. I think this guy is too obsessed with her. The fact that he still misses her despite being cheated on is beyond me. The way she is boasting about her infidelity and unfaithfulness after these years in a relationship deserves a little revenge. What do you think about the story? Let me know about your perspective and advice on this story in the comments below. I need you to do one tiny work for me. My channel is very close to achieving 1,000 subscribers. If you have a little time and you haven't subscribed yet, please do. According to the statistics, 99% of my viewers haven't subscribed to my channel. So, if you are one of those and enjoy these stories, please take a moment to help me achieve this milestone. In a small town, a story starts. A man and his wife have been happy together for 13 years. But then, something unexpected happens that could change everything. The wife makes a big mistake while she's away with friends. This mistake is a secret at first, but secrets have a way of coming out. Now, the man is faced with a tough choice about his marriage and his family. This story isn't just about what went wrong. It's about trust, saying sorry, and trying to fix things. We're going to see if the man and his wife can find their way back to each other, or if some mistakes are too big to forgive. This journey will show us the real tests of love and forgiveness. Let's find out what happens. I, 39 male, and my wife, 33 female, have been together for 13 years. She recently went away on a girls' trip. I was not worried at all. I have never had a reason to distrust her. She has never done anything to give me a cause for concern, and it's not like she was even going abroad. She was going to Butlins, half an hour away. She went with her sister and a few other girls. She called me up this morning, and I didn't expect anything other than her checking in. She's only been away one night of a 3-night trip. When I answered, she was crying and incoherent. When I finally calmed her down, she told me she had slept with someone else the night before. Supposedly, she met a guy whom she approached, they flirted a little and danced together, and she thought that was as far as it would go. But he supposedly just charmed her into a kiss, which turned into making out. These actions turned to her asking him to walk her back to her hotel, which turned into them having sex. She says nothing was amiss, he wasn't pushy or weird, and they actually had sex multiple times. She would say they need to stop, and he would stop immediately, and then after a few minutes, she'd want him to carry on, and he would. And he supposedly never even finished because of the stop and start. This supposedly went on for 3 hours, and she eventually said stop for good and asked him to leave, and he did. The guy is supposedly 10 years younger than her. She said she lied and told him she was going through a divorce. She says she doesn't know what came over her, and she just wanted to see if she still had it, but got carried away. 14 years, married for 10, and we have a 7-year-old daughter. I want to leave her. She's begging me not to, offering marriage counseling, never going out again, never drinking again, etc. I've always been a one-chance sort of guy. I just told her to go fuck herself and have been ignoring her since about 10 a.m. Now her friends and sister are calling me too. They apparently had no idea she'd even gone home with him. They saw them talking but thought nothing of it. I just want them all to leave me alone. I told my mum about it, and she said I should think of my family. That my wife seems genuinely remorseful and didn't try and hide anything and came clean straight away. That it's not like she had an affair. Am I wrong for not even considering forgiving her? Update. So my wife came home tonight, after giving me the day to cool off. I asked to see the guy. I don't know why, maybe I'm a sucker for punishment. And of course, he looks like a superhero, so that's great. For the record, my wife is beautiful. She has perfect teeth, works out regularly, etc. I am not ugly, but I am just a typical English guy. I am not overweight, but could probably lose a few pounds, a bit of a dad's body, etc. I always felt so lucky to be with her. She was an amazing partner, an amazing mother, funny, intelligent, etc. I asked her to lay out what happened to me in more detail. I wanted to catch any lies or changes in the story and test her consistency. She basically says she was at the bar and the guy was standing next to her. They glanced at each other and she said, "Where did you come from?" He asked what she meant, and she replied he was the first handsome man she'd seen. And that's how the conversation got started. As for her telling him she was divorcing, that happened when he glanced down, noticed her ring, and asked her about it. Apparently, once she said that, he went on to say, "Not like I give a fuck either way." I asked if she thought he could have slipped her anything. She says it's impossible because they only did shots together. I asked if she took any drugs, and she admitted to doing coke with her friends. This isn't all that surprising if you're from the UK and you're into drinking culture. It's pretty standard. A few of you seem to be American, so let me explain what exactly a Butlins is. It's basically a holiday resort, usually for families, but they sometimes host adult exclusive weekends where it's a pretty big party place. It's cheap and grimy and can be a lot of fun. People dress up, there's live music, multiple venues, and late night entertainment, etc. As for people saying she got caught by her friends, she actually didn't. She disappeared with the guy and went home with him. She texted her friends she was tired and wanted to go to sleep. They are at the resort and the hotel is like a 3-minute walk, so they all just said to text when she was safe in her room. She was sharing a room with her sister. Her sister was in their other friend's room, drinking and doing coke because they thought she was sleeping. She told the guy to leave at around 6 a.m. because she thought her sister might be coming back soon, as that's when the party usually winds down. I asked her how many times she had sex with the guy, and she said 4 or 5, lasting between 5 to 10 minutes each time. Apparently, Even after cheating, she never thought she'd sleep with the guy. She says she just wanted to give him oral, so she did that, but the guy said he could only finish through sex. She didn't believe him until 20 minutes later he still wasn't done, so she gave up and climbed on top of him. But then, after about 5 minutes, she thought, "What the fuck am I doing?" and got off him. Then laid there and cuddled him and drank more, and then 10 minutes later they would be touching each other again. This repeated 4 or 5 times. She says that she kept thinking it was wrong, but then would think it's too late now anyway, so might as well carry on and basically go through a loop of that. I asked her why she felt the need to see if she still had it. She says since she hit 30, she's been self-conscious of her aging. That when she spots a new wrinkle or something, it drives her to tears. She said that chatting to the guy made her feel young again, and she latched onto that. Also, apparently the guy was there with a girl, who my wife said looked like a younger version of herself. The guy pointed her out to my wife and said that girl over there watching us has a crush on me and laughed about it. After he had been talking to my wife for like 30 minutes, the girl had enough. She walked over and kicked the table, spilling the guy's drink, and then stormed off. She says that the guy picking her over a younger woman drove her ego crazy, and that was when she decided to kiss him. I asked her why she even told me. She said that when she woke up, she saw I'd sent a selfie of me and our daughter eating pizza together, and it sent her into a nervous breakdown. That she was wailing and sobbing so loud it woke up her sister, and that's when she confessed. Her sister told her she was insane for what she did. She wasn't very comforting, and then left the room mad at her, which made it worse, and that's when she called me. I have asked her to leave the house for a few days. She is staying at her mother's house while I decide what I want to do. She begged me not to make her leave, but she did when I said it was the least she could do, after blowing up our entire lives over wrinkles and making her sad. As for my mother, she still thinks I should forgive her. For context, my dad died about a year ago, and my wife has really been a rock for my mum. I cannot see her as much as I would like, due to my work. But my wife is a self-employed nail tech and has a lot of free time. She uses it to spend with my mum, to keep her company, do her hair, and have girly days to try and make sure she doesn't get lonely. No, I don't think my mum is a cheater or whatever, and she is very angry at my wife. But she loves her, and she just wants everything to be okay. My daughter has no idea what is happening. She was already asleep when my wife came and went again. She will just think Mummy is still on holiday. I still have no idea what I'm going to do. Honestly, I'm still reeling. This is where this story comes to an end. The official poster who posted all of this has not provided any update regarding his situation. His account is suspended, and the reason for that is unknown. If he ever comes up to any conclusion or his decision, maybe he will post on an alternative account. I will keep you updated on this story if there will be any more updates in the future. If you haven't subscribed already, please make sure to do so. We are very close to achieving our 1,000 subscribers milestone, so please help me achieve it. I am sitting here at work, just pissed off. I haven't seen much of my son this year. I didn't get him for the summer because of this damn virus. I'm pissed about that. Found out at the end of September that my wife of 5 years is cheating on me. I have spent most of my time doing the FBI, thing which has been a giant can of worms with no apparent bottom. I have had this nasty woman in my house, and I have to sit there and pretend that nothing is wrong, when I just want to throw everything at her and kick her out. My lawyer just keeps telling me not yet. I haven't slept in my bed in almost 2 months, going to burn that when she's gone. I also have had no sex. which has caused her to accuse me of cheating. If she tries to hug me or kiss me, I have to sit there and take it when it makes me want to vomit. When I look at her, I see bugs crawling all over her. I want her gone, but it's just not yet. There is not much left to burn on my fuse. It's like being locked in a big room with someone and there's just a table there, and the room echoes and they start tapping on the table and tapping and tapping and tapping until you just want to flip the table and strangle them. I can't even talk to anybody about it right now because of not yet, not yet, not yet. I'm angry at myself and disappointed in myself for putting myself in the position to let someone do this to me again. I just want this to be over, and I miss my son. I will provide some background as my wife's browsing history shows she hasn't used Reddit in 6 months. Honestly, at this point, I don't even care. I'm white knuckling it right now. Anyone who has found out and said nothing until they served their cheating piece of crap, you have my admiration. This is fucking hard. I got home late Sunday. It's a 1,400-mile drive. This was good. I really didn't want to see or talk to her. I was tired, went to my chair and slept. I haven't slept well in 2 months. I've lost 15 pounds. I look and feel like shit, but it was the first 8 hours I had gotten in a while. Monday, my wife tried to initiate some intimacy. I just cannot get it up for this woman. My Johnson is up bright and early before me every morning, so this is nothing physical with me. It's just that for once, my dick is in total agreement with my mind and heart. This upset her, and we got into a pretty heated argument. I told her maybe there was something wrong with me. I'm 50 years old, this shit happens. She started insinuating again that I was cheating on her. She said that I was not being a good husband. I haven't fucked her in over 2 months. I haven't told her I loved her in over 2 months. Clearly, I'm doing something behind her back. I mean, she tried to gaslight the shit out of me. Yeah, I was doing something behind her back. I was piecing everything together. D-Day for me was September 25. I work in collision repair. Specifically, I work on vehicles that are considered train wrecks. On September 25, I wound up cutting my leg open on a truck I was working on. That was a trip to the emergency room. I got 5 stitches inside my leg and 34 stitches on the outside. It was pretty bad. I got put on some hefty painkillers, and there was no way I was going to drive. So I called my wife. No answer. Called 5 minutes later. No answer. Called again. No answer. So I texted her, "Babe, pick up. I need you. Call me." Called her again. No answer. More texts. Nothing. About an hour and a half of this. So I got an Uber to take me home. We turn onto my street and come in view of my house, and she is standing in our doorway, completely sucking face with the Gmail of where she works. I told the driver to stop. This wasn't a peck, folks. They were swapping spit. She was supposed to be at work. I pulled out my phone, took a couple of pictures, and told the driver to keep driving. I had him take me back to work. I sat there in the break room for 4 hours, head down on the table, numb, fucking heartbroken. When the painkillers wore off, I drove home. In pain from my leg, and from everything going through my head. She wasn't home when I got there. She came home a couple of hours later. She acted all concerned. Maybe she was, maybe she wasn't. I don't know. I asked how her day was, and she made up some bullshit about work that day. I know it was bullshit. A week later, I learned for the first time that she hadn't worked a Friday in 3 years. She was yelling at me that I needed to be a better husband, that I'm not doing enough for her. I got so fucking pissed, I grabbed my phone, opened the chat log, and shoved it in her face. Showed her those unanswered texts. I rarely raised my voice, but I yelled at her that the one time I needed her to be there for me, I got ghosted. She pulled out her phone and looked. Then she left the house for a couple of hours. When she came back, she apologized and then lied right to my fucking face. Oh, she had a hard day at work that day. Didn't notice because she was so busy. The truth is, she didn't know about the calls and texts because she was too busy fucking her boss in my house to answer her phone. In the time between that day and now, I've snooped on her phone, her laptop, and her iPad. Learned I could look at all her shit from one of her old phones. I've installed cameras in the house. I have been watching her cheat on me in real time for 2 months. Let me tell you something. I've always thought Apple products are for idiots. They really are. Cheaters should probably start using Android or something because Apple syncs across everything. I've learned she doesn't just dislike my son. She fucking hates that kid. Probably because him being at my house in the summer was cramping her style. I've learned this affair has been going on for years. I've learned it's not just her boss. One of the men she has been fucking has been someone I have worked with and considered a friend for over 14 years. She works with his wife. His wife has been helping her hide the affair with her boss. They fucking introduced me to her. They watched me propose to her. They watched me propose to her. They were at the wedding. They let me marry this woman, knowing she was cheating on me. I know of 4 men. 2 I know. 2 I don't know. They've fucked in my bed, on my couch, on my kitchen table where I eat, in my shower. These assholes have used my goddamn soap to wash their fucking balls. I went up to my property, where I hunted deer, to get away for 1 weekend. I invited her. I always ask her to come whenever I go anywhere. She always declines. When I got back, I just watched this parade of men go through my house and fuck my wife. She didn't even shower and clean herself off between the 2 of them. What a fucking pig. Yeah, there's a camera in the bathroom too. Same thing when I went to Chicago for Thanksgiving. She spent the whole weekend fucking other men in my home, in my bed. For 2 months, I kept this to myself until I told my ex-girlfriend what was going on. I'm wearing this calm mask, but I am inches from Hulk smash mode. I almost confronted her about her cheating, but I just ate the lies she told me. I fucking apologized for the argument. I told her I would make an appointment with a doctor for my erectile dysfunction, and then I read her texts to her boss, calling me a limp dick and she can't wait for Friday. This is not the woman I fell in love with 7 years ago. I'd like to say she's pure evil, but I think she's got severe mental health problems. Certainly, she's a sociopath. I did not sign up for this. It was very hard for me to ask her to marry me. Since my first divorce, I had a hard time believing that anything nice a woman said to me was what she really meant. I've chased off 2 fantastic women in my life because I was still fucked in the head from my first wife. More so, what I went through after the divorce, than oh, she didn't really love me. I got raped in my first divorce. I walked away from it with $43 in my pocket. No home, no car, no means to do my job, no support from my family, and had to couch surf for the next 3 years because everything I made went to alimony and paying off our debt. 22 years old and my life fucked before it really even started. I spent my 24th birthday on my friend's couch, drunk, with a gun in my mouth, bawling like a baby, because I didn't have the stones to do it. I saw no light at the end of the tunnel. Well, since that day, I have kept that $43 in my wallet to remind me of the lowest I have ever been. I'm not saying that's where I am now, but I feel like I did after that. Yeah, I'm wiser and covered my ass this time. But you know the first time. I caught them in the act, had to do it the old-fashioned way, came home early from a trip, but it was over. The extent of the gaslighting was her saying, "It's not what it seems," and then screaming at me to stop as I beat the shit out of my brother and his friend. But it was over. There was no bullshit. Nothing could be denied. All the therapy I have gone through, it's all gone. This time around, it's this slow process of deceit, holding everything in, just getting lied to all the time. Even when she doesn't need to lie, She lies. I feel that every time I blink, she fucks some other guy. I no longer love this woman. Let's be clear, there will be no working this out. I've checked out. My anniversary is a day that will live in infamy. Pearl Harbor Day. I'm going to make sure she remembers it, but the seconds seem like hours. I'm worn out. I have a constant headache. All the therapy I have gone through, it's all gone. Update number 1. I had her served yesterday. For those asking, I wasn't in a good state of mind to write about it yesterday. Still not really, but I will get it off my chest. I woke up and left the house, got myself some breakfast while waiting for her to leave for work. I then rented a truck, went back home, and changed the locks. My friend and her husband came over. He brought a friend, and we packed up her things. We loaded up our bedroom furniture that I got her as a wedding gift, my couch, my dining table, just all the furniture she defiled, took it to storage, put all her clothes in garbage bags, was going to throw her dirty clothes in, with the clean but my friend wouldn't let me. We got done after 11 in the morning. At around lunchtime, I bought flowers and chocolates and went to her work. I went in, gave her the flowers, and Candy gave her a big hug and a kiss. She was all smiles and blushes. Her co-workers were doing the "aw, that's so sweet" thing. I told her that I would love to take her to lunch, but I had to go get a checkup on my leg, but to not make plans for the night, because I wanted to give her a night she would remember. I gave her a goodbye kiss and started walking out. At this point, I'm going to start calling her GM as Tom. As I was leaving, I saw her boss and gave him a big smile and said, "Hey, Tom, how are ya?" Gave him a wave and left. Then I went and got some lunch. At 2 p.m., a deputy would be walking into my wife's work to serve her. At 2 p.m., I was standing in front of Tom's house. I texted him the picture I took on the day I caught them. I took a selfie in front of his house and sent that too. I knocked on the door, and Mrs. Tom answered. She knows me a little bit from parties and things my wife's work had. I told her that my wife and her husband were having an affair. She didn't believe me. I showed her that first picture I took, and I showed her a selfie they took while my wife was giving him a blowjob on my couch, and she fucking slapped me. I just stood there, and she started crying. I told her my wife was cheating on me with multiple men to get checked for SEDs. I gave her my lawyer's card and my number. Then she asked, why was I doing this to her? I hurt her pretty badly. I feel like the biggest piece of shit for doing that. I told her she had a right to know and felt like an asshole for giving her that answer. As I was leaving, that's when my phone started blowing up. Didn't answer any calls or texts. I just went home. When I got home, I changed my Facebook status to divorced. I started reading the texts from my wife. What the fuck is this? What are you doing? All that shit. I messaged her back and told her she could come to the house at 7 p.m. and not 1 minute before to get her clothes. Apparently, Tom didn't tell her what I did right away, as I imagine he had his own problems at the moment. But my wife sent me a text a little later, motherfuckering me up and down for telling Mrs. Tom. So he did tell her. My friend that covered up for my wife, gonna call her Amber, started calling me. I answered with, "How long have you known that my wife and Tom were having an affair? Please don't lie to me." And she told me what I suspected, the whole time, since before my wife and I had met. The whole fucking time. All this time, I was the side piece. My whole marriage is a sick fucking joke. Let me tell you, that's a bitter pill to swallow. I asked her why she didn't tell me. She said it was because they thought I would go apeshit, get violent and such. I told her that she knew me better than that. She said she kept it secret because she was her friend. What about me? I wasn't. I asked her if I knew her husband was cheating. Wouldn't she want me to tell her? As a friend, wouldn't I be obligated to let her know something she should know? She said yes. So I hung up and sent her pictures my wife had taken of her and her husband, and texted her back with my lawyer's number and said that my lawyer had everything I knew. Then I told her never to contact me again. At about 4 p.m., my wife showed up at the house and found out about the locks. She started banging on the door and yelling. I didn't answer. She tried calling again. I turned my ringer off. Then she broke a window and left. At close to 7 p.m., 2 deputies parked out front. One is one of the people that helped me move stuff earlier. His wife showed up, also my friend. 7 p.m. rolled around, and my wife showed up. I gave her her clothes, the storage key and address, my lawyer's card, told her that all contact with me would be through her. My wife started with the "I love you" crap. We can work this out. She's sorry. She loves me. A mistake. She doesn't love them. It didn't mean anything. I just pointed at my lawyer's card. She said that it's her house too, and I can't kick her out. I told her it was my home and that she literally fucked herself out of it. This is when she got really loud. All the I love yous turned into fuck yous, and I hate yous. The deputies turned on their lights and neighbors had come out to gawk at the train wreck. I remained fairly calm and had my hands at my side through this. She kept screaming at me. I think she might have been drinking. She started crying that she had nowhere to go, and when I told her that I didn't care, well, I learned something new about my wife. She can throw a right hook. Gave me a fat lip and a bloody nose. I didn't move. I just stood there and let her do it. She tried scratching my face. The deputies restrained her. I declined pressing charges, told them to just make her leave. They filed an incident report so I could get a TR. Oh, actually, I'm glad she did that. When she left, I went back in, and while I was cleaning myself up, all that shit I should have been feeling for the last 2 months started to hit me. I'm pretty exhausted right now. I thought I would feel better after this all got out. I don't. I feel fucking awful. I'm not someone prone to crying, but I've been doing a lot of that since last night. There are almost 600 unanswered texts and calls on my phone, and growing. I'm going to NC with our mutual friends. I don't want any of them trying to mediate things. I'll sort them out some other time. I didn't call my son last night. I've always called him every night. I'll tell him tonight. He'll probably not be upset by the news. He wasn't fond of her. Update number 2. I met with her and her lawyer today. I didn't get everything I wanted, but I got enough. We signed for an uncontested divorce. It will be official in about 2 months. That's the good news. I feel some relief from this, but really sad about the whole thing. First off, she did not or could not look at me through almost the entire proceeding. I'm not going to pretend to know what was going through her mind, but I would like to think she didn't have the balls to look me in the eye. She got a decent lawyer. At least he knew he got handed a dog's dinner. They asked if reconciliation was possible, and we did dangle it, even though it is not possible. We asked for full disclosure of what she did. He had already had her write it out. What she wrote down, however, was less than what I already knew. I read what she wrote down, and conveniently, the 2 fellas I didn't know the identity of were not included in it. My lawyer produced stills from the camera footage. Who's this? And who's this? Well, she wasn't very forthcoming with him either. They asked us to step out. We did. I didn't catch every word, but he didn't sound too pleased. When we came back in, I got a more truthful version. The 2 guys were online hookups, and very recent. She'd been having an affair with Tom for more or less the whole time I've known her. She said she broke it off with him sometime after I proposed, and until about a year into our marriage. I think I believe her on that. I mean, I shouldn't believe anything she says, but I did ask if she was ever faithful during our marriage. She started banging FP, my co-worker Amber's husband, on July 4th of 2019. We had a fourth barbecue, and she gave him a blowjob then, at my house. While I was there, said she didn't love him. She just got off on it. During this year, she just got bolder and started hooking up with random guys from online sites. I'm pretty sure she probably had some parking lot hookups and such, but I didn't press on that. I asked the attorneys to give us the room for a bit, because I wanted to ask some private stuff. They walked out. I asked her why. Not why she cheated. Why she married me. Why didn't she say no? She said she loved me. Hey, a great way of showing it. She wanted to be married. She wanted to be married. She wanted the security. I was good in bed, but she's loved Tom for 10 years. He wasn't leaving his wife, and her clock was ticking. So I was a meal ticket, basically. She said I made her happy, but she wanted what she wanted. For those asking, they have both been fired. Amber raised hell at work. I didn't need to make a stink about anything. Soon-to-be ex-wife is living with her parents. I don't know what Tom and Mrs. Tom are doing. I was told it was none of my business. I think he is trying to stay married. If he stays married, I may have to give him a beating. I asked if there was anything else I ought to know. She told me she got an abortion 2 years ago because she didn't know who the father was. That was a low blow. In the beginning, we tried to have a kid, but we opted for the quit trying and enjoy the sex approach. I would have loved to have another kid. Like a daughter, I could spoil rotten. I had unprotected sex with my wife damn near daily. There's a huge chance this kid was mine. I will never know. This was enough to make me get up and walk out. All can talk about a bullet dodged. I'm just thinking she killed my child. If anyone here has ever done any boxing, there's a point where the blows just keep coming, but you don't feel them. I mean, they're doing damage, but it doesn't hurt like the first few punches. It's just too much, and you get numb to them. I called the lawyers back in, told mine to go to Plan B. Plan B is I took my demand for alimony off of the table. I want the divorce agreement uncontested and signed. This is the fastest way. I wanted to say condition 2 to reconcile was for her to unfuck all those other men, you know. Something impossible, but there's no point top being clever here. Ain't gonna lie, the abortion has me rattled. I don't want a monthly reminder of this woman, even in the form of a paycheck. So, at 5:43 p.m., she signed. In around 2 months, it will be official. I keep my house, my retirement funds, all my property, no alimony for either of us. She gets $73,000 from our savings, is not to contact me ever, and we are done. I do not care what happens to her now. I don't want to know what she'll do. I don't care. For her own good, and anyone she meets in the future, I hope she goes to a shrink. But I am done giving a shit about this woman. I, in no way, feel like a weight has been lifted off of me. I've eaten a shit sandwich, and this is all I can taste. I've had nothing to be happy about for 3 months, and I am not happy now. I don't see that in my future at all. That abortion has been on my mind since she said it. I think it's going to be in there for a long time. I don't know what I am going to do in the immediate future or long term. Maybe when this is all finalized, I'll feel some kind of release. I don't know. Right now, I just want to be left alone. This whole time I've been thinking about everything I've ever done, and I don't see anywhere where I have done right, only where I've gone wrong. I know this is an awful mindset to have, but it's what I'm left with. All I can say is at least I got to keep my stuff this time, but I won't be doing this again.